Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and this is episode 229. If you're paying attention, we are so excited.
And if you're not, it's still 220.
And we thought that in the first 5 minutes, what we would do is go ahead and take a look back about what we did over the weekend. Jeff, you want to start?
Well, let's see. This was obviously first weekend of Pride weekend here in Dallas. I went to a drag show. I actually ended up at one Saturday night, and then I ended up at one Sunday morning. This is the Sunday morning crew.
Good for you.
We had such a great time. The performances were absolutely spectacular. This is Corey and Megan singing along with one of the songs. We really had a fantastic time, and the performers were out of this world good. These are not necessarily local people. One of them, it was on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Really?
One of them, Saturday night, was also on RuPaul's Drag Race, and she knocked it out of the park.
What was your favorite song they did?
Oh, gosh.
I caught him off guard. I
I can't even begin to tell you. I don't know.
Well, while Jeff was having a really great time with the drag, which sounds amazing, I was actually having fun with my family. This is my siblings, Chrissy, and my brother Wyatt, and myself. We were actually there for Cole's graduation. So we had all gone down to Abilene. Long story short, just made life a little bit easier for us to head down that direction. We had a great time. We rented a really amazing house. And the house actually had a connection to Dallas. You know what it was?
Mm-mm.
The architect of that property is also the architect of several of the houses that were built on Swiss Avenue. And wait for it, the Office Hotel.
It had that look to it.
It sure did. And it was so interesting because Jason said, there is a house on the market that is identical to this. And he brought it up, and it was identical. Almost the exact same way the floor plan went. There's a very specific solarium with a water feature. The water features were a little bit different, but the placement was the same. The way that the stairs wrapped up and the configuration of the entry with the dining room on one side, it was really amazing. And I have to say, Katie was the Airbnb host, and she did an amazing job. You know what? I will actually post the link in the comments, and you can take a look at it because it is really that special.
Have you reviewed her?
I did. I gave her really good reviews. Good. She gave me a good review too.
Good.
So it was wonderful.
An important part of the process.
It is. It really is. So you know what else is looking really good these days?
What's that, Weston?
You like my lead-ins, don't you? No market ones. So things have really shifted. Last week we came off of Memorial Day, and so things were really tapped down because Dallas is one of those towns that likes to leave when it's a 4-day weekend, and it really was reflective in the actual market.
There's a lot of stuff that gets shoved into that 3-week period that's between Memorial Day and 4-week period and 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing the reasons for that, or I'm sorry, the results of that. So coming soons, we're up about 16%. That was they went up 12 to 87 in Dallas County. That is. It's an optional status in MLS. If agents do any outward marketing, they've got to have it in MLS, and that's a status that they use. New active listings were up about 19% last week to 489. And option period is the first status that the property goes into when it goes under contract. And those were up 13% to 360.
And so once the option period has ended and the contract is still intact, we move into a status called pending. And that's up 26% to 2 for 179, which is greater by 37. And then also solds, that is way up 54% over last week. So that is up 165 units to 407 this week. And also, what is hanging around the same? It's rates. So conforming 30-year rate is still hanging around at 6.7. I think that could be the new norm. I have heard through different sources that it looks like the rate will not be increased in the next go round. So
you're talking Federal Reserve?
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think what we'll also see, rates settle back down a little bit now that the debt ceiling issue is resolved. Yes. It, uncertainty makes those markets go nuts. And now that has been solved and that's been signed and that implemented, I think, that is an example of last week's business. And I think next week we'll see the example of this week's business with them going down some.
Absolutely. And it was, I meant to actually bring the photo. I'll bring it next week. But when we were on tour this week, we were touring a home in North Dallas, and I thought they had done one of the most interesting things. They had, I won't say converted because this house they probably didn't convert, but it would be a really easy thing to do. If you have a media room and media room's not the thing for you, They actually turned theirs into a golf driving range. With the technology that's out there today, it was really simple for them to put this together. They also had a Peloton in there and a rowing machine. It made a lot of sense for that space.
It really did. It was a lot of space that would either nowadays go unused or would have a media room set up in it.
Right.
So few people would actually use it.
And I can see like downsizers loving that, or I can see like a very athletic family being all in on that. That'd be a great way to get going. So
It really would.
well, let's take a look at this house. Which house are we going to talk about this week?
So we're going to talk about 3830 Northaven Road. This is one of our newest listings, and this is a showstopper of a home.
It is in a great neighborhood. It's just around the corner from me. This is a super easy to get around to neighborhood. This is probably one of the first suburbs of Dallas, and it was still south of 635, but as you can see, you have really great access to both Midway, Marsh, and the toll road, of course. 635 makes things so much easier these days. You can jump all the way on that and transfer over. Multiple toll roads as well that connect. There's a 183 express lane that can get you to Fort Worth, I would say roughly in 25 to 30 minutes, and it is worth every penny given the fact that the mid-cities can get super crowded now.
And this neighborhood is really part of Dallas's long history. This was all part of the Cox Farm, and you know where Cox Road is. So this was part of the Cox Farm, which was one of the large land tracts that was granted for settlers that first came here. And then it was broken off in 1954 by a couple of developers named Robert Gump and William Gaynor. And they started this development. A really interesting fact is in 1954, the annual showcase of new homes by the Dallas Association of Home Builders had they featured 20 of the homes on Pinocchio between Royal and what is now Sleepy Lane. And it was so successful that they did it again the second year. The first year they had over 100,000 visitors.
In what year?
1954.
That's a lot.
It was a lot for the time.
That is. And what we like to do is also point out what's of interest for locals, because a lot of people, when they're thinking about moving to Dallas, want to know what there is to do. And so one of the great restaurants over there is Dunstan's Steakhouse. And this is not, is this the original Dunstan's Steakhouse, Jeff?
I
the one on
don't
Harry
know.
Hines?
I think the one on, well, I'm unsure.
I think the one on Harry Hines is newer. This is a great one. It is an easy restaurant to go to. What's really funny is people that are familiar with the restaurant know there's the back entrance and the front entrance. And so you park in the back, come in the back, it's so much easier. The bar is the best area. That half is the best area to seat in. But you know what they did with one of the dining rooms? They converted it to a lounge. And it is an excellent lounge. And it's so funny because we were talking about the lounge to some friends, and I said, yeah, it's just Amarillo chic. And everybody got so tickled, and people that were not from Texas were like, what does that even mean? I was like, we just have to go check it out, you know. But it's a great place, great steaks, add shrimp to everything. I love that.
One of the really other great features of the neighborhood is Withers Elementary, and this is a DISD school, public school. The neighborhood has probably over the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, has really rallied behind this school. They've got a lot of parental involvement in it, and as such, it has become a very, very sought after elementary school. This is probably as sought after as Lakewood Elementary is.
It's and in this area, it's Withers and Nagoya, and this one actually you can walk to. It's that close. And speaking of, we can't quite walk here, but you can get to the Inwood Forest Shopping Center, and this is really important because again, when people move to town, they want to know what's in the area, and this is, I think, 2.2. Is it 2.2 miles away?
That's probably about right.
Yeah, 2.5 miles, which is 6 minutes. And this is up there right at Inwood and Forest. And there is the place to get your car washed. There's Streets Chicken. There's a Home Depot. There's a Chick-fil-A, Taco, our Tacos, Republic, and a great sushi restaurant all in this little area up there.
You know what the latest thing that's opening up there is?
No.
It's Jonathan's Cafe. And it's the
Like
Jonathan's
Jonathan's
from
Bishop
Oak
Arches?
Cliff. Yes. It is his newest cafe. It is in a building that is back behind the car wash.
Yeah.
And you'll see that it's been painted green, I think. It used to be a restaurant called Dell's Cafe or something like that for a long time. It's probably been there since the probably been there since the 50s, I would guess.
That's going to go like gangbusters.
It is.
That is a great get up there.
Great location, building's great, his food's fantastic.
It is.
That's going to be a great go-to.
It will be on the rotation very soon. So anyway, that gives you a really good snapshot of what there is to do in that area. And there's so much more. But let's go ahead and start talking about this house.
So this is 3830 Northaven Road. This is a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, 1 half bath, 2-car garage built in it's 2,360 square feet. I did neglect to mention that this does have an office in addition to the 3 bedrooms.
Yep, and it sits on just over a third of an acre and has been renovated to the nines. Now, this is a mid-century modern house, and a lot of times buyers don't quite understand how important it is to stay within that vein, but this homeowner has done a great job.
He really has, or they really have. The lighting, some of the lighting they brought in, from Artimity, I can't remember.
Cartel was another one.
It fits this home spectacularly. They also have many of the cans that are on a hue system, so they can change colors, they can change the environment. It really can become a different home depending upon what you want for it.
But the great thing about the home is that as finished out as it is so livable. And so, these guys have 2 beautiful dogs, and the house looks like this all the time. Great art. One of the things I want to point out is that is Heath ceramics that was sourced from the group out in San Francisco that they used there on the fireplace. I believe it's called persimmon. And you'll see that it's been used in a couple of the guest bathroom and also in the master bathroom. It's a really great touch, and it also harkens back to that mid-century modern design.
And this is really an open floor plan. You walk in the front door, you can see all the way through the back if you want, all the way open to the kitchen. Great living space, very flexible. The fireplace and the TV, I think, become really great focal points for this room. But you've got, so much room for that huge dining room table.
The other thing too is like this is how it was shot. We hired a photographer that really works with the natural light in the house, and that is one of his big calling cards. And as you can see here, we did have the lights on, but the natural light that is in this home is amazing. This is a really great. We're going to get out there to this outdoor space. It's amazing. But this kitchen, they did a superb job on the renovation of this.
They really did. The tile on the backsplash and how it flows down to the front of the island, it really works well. And you've got seating there on the island. You've got the openness into the living room, built-in, the stainless steel appliances that are going to stay. It's such an easy room to cook in.
And I got to point out that there is space for 2 or 3 people to cook in here. This is a great example of that. Mm-hmm. The space between the island and the actual sink gives you plenty of room, so you're not bouncing into each other. So well thought of. And again here, this is a grid pattern with glass and the petrol colors, and it is a perfect go-to with this house. And as you can see, when we pivot back around, great island, perfect for seating. And as you can see there on the far right-hand side, we've got a really great little bar that started at the end. Here's a nice shot of that.
I love that accent tile on the back of that. And the way the corner shelves fit in, it's perfect storage.
It is. So this is going to be the bathroom down the hall. This is the first bathroom. This is a powder bath. And as you can see, they've spent the money on these mirrors to bring them off. And this is the first guest bedroom.
And these are really nice sized bedrooms. The guest rooms, I believe, have both have queen size beds in them, but they're really large. This is the bathroom for the other 2 bedrooms. I do like the fact that they still did the dual sinks in it. This is the other guest room that I said, the room size is still really very large.
Great walk-in closets, and this is the master. Now, what they have done is really incorporated the indoor-outdoor. We're going to keep going to that a little bit, but you can see how much space this adds with the view, and it's a symmetrical room. I think that a lot of times we struggle with some of the houses where the rooms are not placed properly, and they've dedicated a really great drop-down with the chandeliers.
And this is really where I think these guys shine in what they've done to the home. This bathroom was generally in this configuration when they bought it, but they really took some time and really tied it together with the rest of the home. Again, they brought the Heath tile back in there, the sculptured tub, the lighting, the globes over the lights, everything just fits so well.
And we did photograph it, but that closet is pretty amazing.
It really is.
So let's swing outside, and we've got so much area out here to entertain and enjoy. One of the things they did was they kept up with this tile and did a great outdoor kitchen space, as you can see right there. But this allows us to turn around, pivot, and you can look both on the left-hand side, you see the living room, and on the right-hand side, you can see the master bathroom. And here you can see the actual bathtub.
So those all have telescoping or cascading doors on them that slide open. And so you've got this real great inside, outside. They've replaced a generous amount of the decking around here with newer decking. You will notice around the tree that is a step up just a bit, and that was what was recommended to do by their arborist, or they would have replaced all of it.
And they've gone ahead and hung the really cool industrial lights as a way to really focus on this dining space. And as you can see here, it does play into both the dining room, and there's a fire pit as well. But this is a great space because it also has a little dream space over there. So if you've got a little four-legged friend, you've got plenty of room for them. This is a really great shot because it highlights how important these trees are and how their canopy acts and participates. Here's a really great shot of this amazing fire pit. One of the great things is that both the fire pit and the outside oven have separate lines around them.
Yeah, and that natural gas lines. So it really makes it easier for those to operate. I'm so excited about this house. It's a 3830 Northaven Road, 3-bedroom plus a study, 2 full bath, 1 half bath, 2-car garage. It's a little over 1/3 of an acre, built in 1963, 2,300-ish square feet, listed at $1,004,000, which is about $593 a square foot.
Yep. So if you would like to take a look at this house, let us know. Click on the comments. You can get our contact information there. Scroll through some of the photos that we didn't have a chance to look at. Share it with your friends and family, and we'd be happy to make that happen.
And with that, we'll be right back. Did you know there are a lot of ways you can keep up with us? For starters, every Wednesday at noon, we host Sold with Updike Pew, live from our Facebook and YouTube channels. Our show is dedicated to featuring some of the best homes in the Dallas market and about sharing timely information about market trends. But don't worry if you miss the show, because you can always listen to them on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify.
Still want more? Follow us on Instagram, where you get a first-hand look at what it's like to be a realtor. It's not always previewing homes for clients or getting them ready to go live in MLS. Lastly, visit our website and you'll be able to create a custom home search tailored specifically to your wants and needs that's timely and accurate. Whether it's square foot, location, or the neighborhood, we have you covered.
If you'd like to know how much your home is worth, we can help with that too. Just visit homeprice.fyi, enter a few pieces of information like your home address, and we'll email you a price. When you're ready to talk real estate, you can reach us online, by phone, or by text at 214-377-2223.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.
Hi everybody, welcome to the second segment of Sold with Updike Pew, episode 229. I'm Jeff Updike.
And I'm Weston Pugh. Today we thought we would talk a little bit about why real estate is still considered the best long-term investment.
So what's number one?
Well, let's jump right in there. Potential for appreciation. And this is something that if you've been in the Dallas market in the last, 5 years, but especially in the last 24 months, you know a lot about right now. It has appreciated so much faster that there were times when people were saying that the amount of money that they could make on selling their house was equivalent or greater than an entire year's income. And that is a lot of money.
It is. And you know, I feel like I've lived here since the 80s, and I feel like our cost of home ownership and rent we were so spoiled for so long.
Yep.
And, you know, our city became a much more mature city, let's say from 2000 to 2005. And then, you know, the economy tanked 2007 to 2012. We saw what happened there. But man, we hit 2012 and it was like, it's not only making up for that, the 12% things went down during the recession, but it just took off like a rocket to even itself out with every other market out there.
And I feel like we have so many buyers from other states that are coming here, and headquarters that are relocating their clients or their home offices, that it has really changed the landscape, both good and bad. I think the toughest thing that we see is traffic. I think that's something that we're all kind of getting used to. One of the other reasons that real estate is such a strong asset is because it can create rental income. And this is a really great way to create a passive form of income, especially if you're moving into that retirement age. Buying today is a really great thing to do, especially in 30 years when someone's paid your mortgage off.
I never have anybody that I've ever talked to that has said, "Oh my God, I wish I had sold that 30 years ago." It's, it's always the other way of, "Oh God, why didn't I hold on to that another 5 years?"
So I do want to add that I think that there are a lot of videos, influencers, or whatever they are, that make it sound like rental income is so simple, and that it's just 1, 2, 3, and you pull equity out of your house, and you just fly in, and you make an offer, and it's just done, wham, bam, and you're just set for life. It is not like that.
It is not. There needs to be some thought into it. You need to have a plan. You need to know what. Number one, if you're financing, you need to know where's the down payment coming from, because on investment property, it is a higher down payment.
Right.
And you also need to know that you can qualify for that, because if you don't have history of rental income, the mortgage company is not going to give you credit for potential rental income on that property.
So it can be done, but I would
Absolutely.
say that it needs to be done with realistic expectations and professional guidance. Two huge things.
And the next thing is the diversification that this can give you across your portfolios. Let's say that you are into the bond market, you are into the stock market, or you're into, buying air rights, or you're buying water, or whatever it is. Real estate is a really good way to diversify and stabilize your investments. Stock market's very volatile.
Correct.
We know that the price of oil is very volatile. Real estate does not have the volatility of many of that. And while all of those are really good investments over time, real estate is one of those that's going to many times give you a better return over the course of 30 years than practically any of the other.
And if you're like some of our clients who are extremely handy, real estate is a great way for you to take and combine both your hobbies and your pastime and knowledge into an asset, because I don't think that anything that you would do with your Apple stock would make it worth more.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have clients that redo the bathrooms, that make the roof brand new, these are elements that actually do add value. And so it is a really good way for you to control that diversification as well.
And it has the tax advantages, which is our next point. The tax advantages on this are probably not what they were 20 years ago, but they are still really good. It is an investment that is treated much like a small company for you, because you do get to take your income and subtract away what your expenses were for operating that property, and then the money that you make at the end of the year is taxed on a little bit different scale than everything else. But the cool thing is you've got somebody that's renting that property and is eventually going to pay that off for you.
That is what I love about the rental properties that we have. I think that's great. And the last thing that we want to talk about is the inflation hedge. And this is I think when you and I were kind of fleshing out this concept that we were talking about today, one of the things I said, well, it's kind of like fixed income and you're stuck. And you're like, let's not use the word stuck. So it's more like there's a fixed. So you are buying at today's prices, and then your rent or your expenses or your income go up.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you don't have as much of expenses.
Yeah, the largest portion of your expenses in your household is going to be, if you pay cash for it, it's going to be that initial investment, or it's going to be your monthly payment on whatever type of mortgage you have. And as long as you're on a fixed rate mortgage,
right,
then that portion of the component is always going to stay the same for whatever the term of your mortgage, the 15 or the 30 years. Your property taxes potentially go up some, your insurance costs potentially go up some, your maintenance costs go up some. But at the end of the day, that largest chunk of that, which is your principal and interest, is always going to be the same for the term of your mortgage.
And you know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about the fact that the equity that you build up inside of the house can allow you to withdraw that and use that as a down payment on the next property.
That is correct.
So there are ways for you to link these together and make a lot of strong decisions to diversify your portfolio.
So we hope you found that helpful. If there's any other information you want about this topic, or if there's any other topics that you'd like us to cover, please reach out. We'll be happy to make that happen.
And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.
When you're ready to talk real estate, you can reach us online, by phone, or by text at 214-377-2223.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.